characters in Dark Souls. We can like them, or we can despise them. The fate of many of them is in our hands. Yet in the cruel world of Dark Souls, we're often powerless, and many of them die anyway. So, I asked myself a simple question. How many characters can you save in Dark Souls? Before we begin, we need to define the rules of this run. Saving a character means they are alive and sane by the time we face Gwyn. We are allowed to use any means necessary to achieve that goal. Characters that cannot die or go hollow are not counted, as well as all bosses. As a starting gift, we pick the Master Key, and after going through the game normally, we meet our first character, Oscar. He gives us the Estus Flask, the keys, and he dies.
The game was rigged from the start.
But he doesn't have to die. There is a way to save him. Trigger the boulder and save quick without ever talking to him. Open the door downstairs. After a couple of attempts, the door to the boss will open. That's it. Oscar survives, and my run just turned into a no Estus run. Just like that, we get our first point on the scoreboard. Moving forward, we meet Snidely the Crow. He can't be killed, so I won't count him. Eventually, we arrive at Firelink Shrine. Here we meet the Crestfallen Warrior. Normally, after we ring the second bell of awakening, he leaves for New Londo, and eventually goes hollow. But here's the thing, if you simply ignore him, and never talk to him at all, he never leaves, he stays right here for the rest of the game. I guess he doesn't really want to die, just wants to complain. That's one more point to the score. At this point, we can meet two more characters in the shrine, but we'll come back to them later. We can also see the crowd who brought us here. Technically, it's an NPC, but it can't be killed. If you deal lethal damage to it, it simply flies away. It comes back later. After moving on to the Undead Burg, we meet the Undead Male Merchant. We need to buy the residence key from him, and since he can be killed, he counts. But obviously, we won't kill him. After showing the Taurus demon the power of lightning, we move forward and meet Solaire. I could ignore him, and he would survive. But Solaire is one of the few characters who can truly be saved. So I decided to do it properly. For now, we progress his questline. Our path leads us to the gate, where we obtain the basement key. With it in hand, we turn and open the door to the lower Undead Burg. Here, we free Griggs, and after meeting him at the shrine, we count him as saved. Just don't buy all his spells, and he'll be alright. Next, we make our way to the Undead Female Merchant. She can be hit, and she definitely won't like it. With a single strong hit, she can even be killed. Otherwise, she runs to the end of the tunnel and becomes invincible. And since she can be killed, she counts. Next, we reach the Capra Demon. And this is where things got complicated. Now we need to talk about Rhea, Vince and Nico. After the Capra Demon is defeated, they arrive in Firelink Shrine. Whether you talk to them or not, they will eventually move on to the catacombs. During their storyline, Vince and Nico will inevitably go hollow in the Tomb of the Giants. We can save Rhea. You can even keep her alive until the end of the game. But there is also another option. A way to save all of them. By doing absolutely nothing. If you simply never kill the Capra Demon, they will never arrive. Their story never begins, and none of them die. I call that a win. But in this case, a new problem arises. The Capra Demon drops the key to the depths. And that's where we need to save Laurentius. Maybe we can enter from the other side, through Blighttown. Finally. Well, I said, by any means necessary. Now we need to do the Capra Demonscape. To do that, we need to perform so-called meme roll. Unfortunately, it's not fun at all. Finally. And just like that, we're in the depths. All we need to do now is not die and save him. Now, let's deal with the Butcher and save our Pyromancer.
Thank you. Thank you, dearly.
Let's take a look at what we've achieved. The Capra Demon is still alive, Laurentius is saved, Rhea, Vince and Nico never arrived, and a man with the best haircut ever is fine as well. So far so good. That's a solid plus 5 points on the scoreboard. We finally make our way to the Undead Parish. Here we meet Andre. We count him. We also meet Lautrec. Whether you open his cell or not, he will eventually kill Anastasia. You can prevent this, but only by killing Lautrec yourself. So, is that the end? Can't we save them both? Or can we? You see, there are actually two separate triggers for Anastasia's murder. First, the player collects Firekeeper's souls in the Undead Parish and in Blighttown, but we don't have Estus anyway. Second, the player rings both bells of awakening. Now the question is, how do you avoid ringing both bells? There is a way to reach Sans Fortress without ringing them at all. To make this work, we need to perform the so-called Sans Gates Queue. It's a trick used by speedrunners to reach the fortress early. Thanks to this queue, the gates that normally block the entrance never load in properly. And after a quick load, we reload inside Sans Fortress, without ringing both bells of awakening. Anastasia leaves, and Lautrec remains beside her, staring in silence for the rest of the game. Before we move on, there are still a few things we need to take care of. Tunnel of Sina. Normally, he moves to Firelink Shrine after the second bell is rung, but since that will never happen, he stays in the sewers. Home shit home. Now, we can kill the gargoyles. Just don't ring the second bell, the one beyond Quilag. After the gargoyles are dead, we meet Oswald of Karen and become him. Next, we visit the Darkroot Garden. Here we meet Alvina, but she cannot be killed, so she won't count.
What a fool we have!
If we join her covenant, Shiva and his bodyguard will appear. Both of them are mortal, both of them are counted. The forest is also filled with forest hunters. According to the wiki, they are considered to be NPCs. Most of them will respawn after resting at a bonfire. Only 3 die permanently, 2 forest hunted knights, and the archer, Ferris, so I will only count those 3. In total, 5 characters in the forest. Near Darkwood Basin, there's a tower, where Havel is imprisoned, or at least his follower. According to the wiki, he's already hollow, so whether we kill him or not, his story is already over. And this is the first time we are truly helpless to save someone.
I am Siegmeyer of Katarina. Quite honestly, I've run flat up against a wall, or a gate, I should say. The thing just won't budge, no matter how long I wait. And oh, have I waited.
Sorry, friend, but you have to wait a bit longer. Or a lot longer. Without cleaning the bells, this gate will never open, and because of that, we can't progress his storyline at all. He will wait here for the rest of the job. And you know what? That's not so bad. Considering that in his normal storyline, he dies in the end anyway. Now, there is one downside. He won't be able to save his daughter, Sieglinde, from the Golden Golem. But here's my hot take. If her storyline never starts, she never gets captured. And if she's never captured, she's safe. So I'm cutting both of them. Now, we can finally proceed to Sans Fortress. If you die here after the skip, you'll have to do it all over again. So the very first thing to do, light the bonfire. But be careful, after this, there is no point of return. You are trapped here, until Ornstein and Small are dead, and the loud vessel is claimed. The first thing we have to do in the fortress is rescue Big Head Logan. After that, he will appear in Firelink Shrine. And regardless what we do, his story continues in the Duke's archives, so we'll return to him later. Next, we encounter Undead Prince Ricard, and, well, the title says it all. He's already hollow. In the nearby tower, we also meet the Crestfallen Merchant. He is alive, non-hostile, counted. And the last character in the fortress is Black Iron Tarkus. The mighty knight in black iron armor managed to defeat the Guardian of Anor Londo, gaining access to the City of the Gods. However, after reaching Anor Londo, Tarkus perished at the hands of the Painting Guardians, before ever reaching Guinevere and claiming the Lord Vessel. Another failure. Sorry, big guy, we're late. Anyhow, now we can defeat the Iron Golem and move on to the City of the Gods. Right at the entrance, we meet the Darkmoon Knightess. We count her. After dealing with Anor Londo's local architecture, we make our way to the painted world of Marianus. Here we meet King Jeremiah. If we kill him, his body appears, so he counts. Next, we go through the entire area, just to say hello to Priscilla.
This land is peaceful, its inhabitants kind, but thou dost not belong.
A peaceful land indeed.
I beg of thee, plunge down from the plank and hurry home.
As you wish, your fluffiness. Now we proceed through Anor Londo. After dealing with the archers, I said after dealing with the archers. After introducing the archer to gravity, we meet Solaire once again. We talk to him to progress his questline. Then we meet the giant blacksmith. We count him. And now we enter the arena to fight this sadistic, bone-crushing cannibal. And Smough. Now we can finally meet Guinevere, the Great-Chested. In the flesh. Well, in the illusion. You can't really save an illusion, can you? But honestly, I wouldn't mind living in that one. And if you decide to heal her, the illusion fades, Anor Londo goes dark, and 2 Darkmoon soldiers appear. In human form. They won't respawn, so yes, I count them both. Anyway, now we can finally claim the Lord Vessel and place it to continue our journey. Where's Front? Oh yeah, about that. Front only appears after you ring both bells, so we have 2 options here. Ring the bells or place the Lord Vessel under Kath's guidance. So, New Londo it is. But before that, we need to kill this poor thing for Artorias reign. Now we move on to New Londo ruins. First, Ricard of Flimheim. We can kill him through the bars, so yes, he counts. Next, we meet Ingvad. If the 4 kings are dead, talk to him, and he'll move to Firelink Shrine, and stays there until the end. Counted. Now, Witch Beatrice. Under certain conditions, you can summon her for the 4 kings fight, but it doesn't matter. After the boss is dead, her body appears in the Valley of Drakes. Unavoidable death. There is a way to keep her alive. The 4 Lords skill. But that route requires ringing the bells, which breaks our Lothric Anastasia outcome, and performing a frame-perfect glitch that I couldn't pull off for footage. So this is a choice. One of them will die, and it's our decision who. Now we fight the 4 kings, and after they fall, we finally meet Darkstalker Kath. He can't be killed, so he doesn't count. Under his guidance, we place the Lord Vessel. 1 Lord down, 3 to go. If I had to choose between the Dark Catacombs and the Bed of Chaos, I'd honestly rather go to the Archives. Here we meet the Crystal General. Maybe he has deep lore, but now he's completely insane. Beyond saving, not counted. Then we face Seath, and after our completely unavoidable death, we wake up in prison. Great. After breaking out and getting the cell key, we free Big Head Pogon once again.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm saved. That makes twice.
Later, when we meet him again in his study room, we count him there. Yes, he can go insane, but only if you buy all his spells. So, we just don't? Problem solved. All that's left now is to kill Seath. 2 lords down, 2 to go. Next on the agenda, the Catacombs. Here we meet Venus. He can be killed, so he counts. Now we face the hardest boss in the entire game, Pinwheel. Yes, truly terrifying. After that all women struggle. We proceed to the Tomb of the Giants. Here we meet this trustworthy gentleman, Patches, a man I would absolutely trust with the nuclear launch codes. He kindly demonstrates what's at the bottom of this dark pit. Normally, we would meet Rhea, Vince and Nico here, but we already saved them from their usual fate, so it's surprisingly calm down here. I'm sure he has a perfectly good explanation for what he did.
These temptations, they can, well, overcome me.
Reliable. After Gravelord Nito falls, he moves to Firelink Shrine and stays there, counted. If you are in human form, you can also be invaded by Dark Phantom Paladin Leroy. If he dies, his body appears in Nito's arena, so we avoid the invasion and count him alive instead. And now, we kill the first of the dead himself. Only one lord left to go. To postpone Lost Isolate a little longer, we are heading into the DLC instead. There is one important detail. Everything in the DLC happens in the past. Most characters we meet there are already dead by the time we face Gwyn, or their fate is completely unknown. Let's begin. The first character we encounter is Elizabeth. We can actually find her dead body in Dark Souls 3, which means she survived well beyond Gwyn's era, and since she can be killed, she counts. Next, we meet the marvelous Chester, also known as Mr. Bloodborne. His fate is completely unknown. After defeating Knight Artorias, we encounter Lord's Blade Sirion. In the present timeline, her body can be found behind Artorias' grave, so she is already dead. Next, Hawkeye Golf. One of the best conversations in the game, but his ultimate fate is unknown. Then, we rescue a tiny grey cub, Future Sith, from the Humanity Spirits. Either way, in the present timeline he is a boss, so we don't count him. Now we can fight Manus. Yeah, we killed each other simultaneously. And I had to kill him again for task footage, because apparently she disappears after we leave this location. I love this boss. How was it? Heinous. Anyway, now we have saved her both in the past and in the present. But there's a catch. If we ever summon her, her body appears. So yeah, you just don't. Saved. Counted. Which means only 2 characters in an entire DLC can actually be saved. Time has come to visit the swamp. What I love about this location is nothing. First, we climb down the Great Hollow to reach Ash Lake and meet the Stone Dragon. He cannot be killed, not counted. In Blight Town, we can meet Quillan of Izalith. She appears only if your Pyromancy Flame is +10. If you buy all her spells and full upgrade the flame, she leaves, but if we don't, she stays here, so we leave her be. Counted. If we are in a human form, Maneater Millret can invade us, so I decided to save her by giving her my meat. To be serious, she's a phantom. She can't eat our meat. Most likely, she just steals our humanity. And whether we give her some or not, after Quelaag dies, her fate is completely unknown. Time to fight the Spider Mummy. Wood. And don't forget, avoid ringing the bell after her. After Quelaag, we find the illusory wall. Behind it, Engi and the Fair Lady. Maybe killing them would be more merciful, but that's not the wrong we're doing. We count them both instead.
Ah! Ah!
They also join her covenant and offer 30 humanity we've been collecting throughout the whole game to save Solaire of Astora Layton. Since we're here, let's talk about Kirk, Knight of Thorns. He can invade in 3 different locations. If you kill him in all 3, his body appears in the Fair Lady's chamber. So we avoid at least 1 invasion. Count it. After hitting that thing, we move forward. Before the next boss, a quick detour behind the shortcut. Here, we kill the Chaos Bug with the Sunlight Maggot to save Solaire of Astor. 1 bug dead, 1 Sun Bro not driven insane. Then we kill this boss again. Yes, again. And then we fight this monstrosity. After the boss is down, we meet Solaire of Astor once again. He didn't find his own son. Maybe the real son was the friends we saved along the way. Anyway, we return to the shortcut, and here we meet him again. He said, "But alive, saved, counted." Technically, we can summon him for the final fight with Gwyn. He could fulfill his ultimate dream, becoming a sun by licking the first flame. That would probably kill him. And after everything we've done, we're not risking that. And the last character we meet in Lost Izalith is the Daughter of Chaos. She has no name, only purpose, fiercely protecting her mother, God of Chaos. She does not respawn, so we simply leave her alone and enter the arena. Saved, counted. Now, time to fight the best boss in the game. After a short dance performance, she is finally defeated. All lords are finally dead. First, let's visit the man who started it all.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
Still closed. Still closed.
And our dear friend, Lautrec, is still plotting something terrible. Some things never change. Time to finish this. Alright, time for the statistics. In total, there are 61 characters in the game, excluding mentioned only characters and bosses. Along the way, we managed to save 42 of them. In the Lautrec Anastasia Beatrice triangle, only 2 can survive, 1 must fall. We lost only 6 characters, and I'm actually proud of that, because 5 of them were already lost before we could ever intervene. The 6th is a matter of choice. Next, unkillable and respawning. Characters We either cannot kill at all, or those who simply return after resting at a bonfire. And finally, Unknown Fate. Only 3 remain in this category. Their stories unresolved. We also have Guinevere, but she doesn't fit into any category, because she is only an illusion. That's it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. I truly put my soul into this one. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And tell me if you'd like to see the same kind of run in other Souls games. Take care, and don't go hollow.